So we've been here with this process of trying to encourage people, understanding about how to get a grant, and what I want to be able to do is just summarise the process in terms of what the grant process is about. So basically, what you need to understand is that funds that are given for grants are given for a specific purpose. So I really encourage you to find from a planning point of view what is the need for your organisation to have a grant. Too often I think people apply for grants because they think, oh, we need some money, but don't really understand that it's going to be linked to their strategic plan or some sort of planning process. So what I'd like people to think about is a grant is being given for a particular purpose, for a set of criteria you need to be able to apply to. So from that perspective, how's it linked to your future, how's it linked to your strategic plan is the key thing. If it's not linked, then I'd question the need to have that. The next part is looking at who are the grant providers. There's a range of grant providers that you can consider. Too often I think sporting organisations look only at the Office of Recreation and Sport. Have you thought about the Office for Volunteers? Or a lot of sporting organisations have volunteers. Think about how you might be able to apply to them. The community benefit grant. Surely your organisation is trying about community benefits through what you offer, the activities that you offer. What about the community benefits? There's a number of other grants that you could consider. So what I'd really encourage you to do is go on, Google grants, grant providers, and look at how they might be aligned to what you might be able to do. Source some of the funding providers that are going to suit your organisation's needs. So if you're a sporting organisation, who are the grant providers that do those? Think also about the different agendas that organisations have in terms of some of their focus areas. Disadvantaged youth, older adults, multicultural groups. Think about the grant providers that might be able to align with that as well. One of the key things I think that organisations need to do in terms of preparing grants is having a grant portfolio. By that I mean having some board information that you need to be able to have that you can access your grant very easily. So what often happens in clubs is that the secretary goes, or there's a change of structure. People move on, take all that information with them. So if you have a grant portfolio which lists all the sorts of information needed in terms of the club's organisational structure, the club's demographics, the membership, the ABN number, where to get all that sort of information. If it's all contained in a file or record that can be accessed very easily, then it's there for when you apply for your grant, rather than having people chase around and spending time trying to find this information. Once you've got that grant portfolio, I would suggest you decide to apply for a grant, get a checklist. What are the things you need to be able to put together for the grant? So have all that information down and have that checklist listing all the key questions you want to ask. So before you go to that grant application, say these are things I need to look at. What are the checklist items that I can tick off and make sure that I've got organised. Satisfy the grant criteria. Too often I think people forget to look at what the criteria is. They don't meet that. So satisfy that grant criteria, because thinking about the grant providers, they're only going to say, well, here's the conditions, how do you meet those conditions? If you can do that, then you're a long way to success. Gather the evidence, use your time properly, making sure that the evidence that you get is going to support your documentation. Letters of support, who can you use? So be it MPs, be it your local clubs, your state association, think about how they might be able to give you the support. Because what you're trying to do is gather some other information that's going to get you over the line. A lot of people apply for grants, they can't always be successful. If you can find that point of difference, maybe that's going to be what gets you the grant in the end. Prepare your draft application, and don't be afraid to ring the grant provider, the grant consultant, and say, well, what else do I need to put in this grant? Can you provide feedback on the grant for me before I apply? Do that in plenty of time so they've got time to be able to provide that feedback for you. Once you've done your application, think about what are the things that you can do by checking your checklist, going through all those procedures, put it in and then wait for your time. And then, if successful, then certainly celebrate it. I think one of the things we don't tend to do is recognise that the work that's been done to do that, so celebrate that success. Make sure that you recognise the grant provider and make sure that you also then, having got the grant, satisfy those grant conditions, because there'll be a timeline, there'll be an approval process, make sure you do that. And if unsuccessful, you need to seek feedback. So these are just some tips that I think are going to help you in terms of maybe getting a grant. Won't guarantee you'll get it, but certainly it's going to make you more confident and competent in thinking about applying for a grant. Good luck.